That sucked, to be blunt. Not the type of ball we want to play, and really kind of eerily similar to our last performance in that we're not doing the fundamental things well enough. We're turning the ball over. We're not getting turnovers, and that hadn't been a recipe for us, but it has been of late. You're -2 or whatever we were in this game, man. You're not giving yourself a chance, particularly turning the ball over in the red zone. We had balls on the ground early. We had a ball on the ground on a punt team early. We didn't cover it. We had a ball tipped up in the air that could have provided our offense a short field. We didn't catch it. We're not being opportunistic on the defense or the special team side when given an opportunity. We had balls on the ground and turnover opportunities a week ago that we didn't capitalize on. And then we're not securing it on offense. And so you're running on the beach when you're performing like that, coupled with lack of situational playmaking, red zone defense, making people settle for field goals as opposed to touchdowns. The games are going to look like that. Got to score more than 10 points against an outfit like that. And so, you can look at it from a lot of angles. The bottom line is junior varsity is not good enough. We got to own that. But we also got to look at what it is we need to do different. We're not going to continue to do the same things and hope for a different result. That doesn't seem sharp to me, and so we're going to take a hard look at this. We got a couple extra days before we get back into it. We're going to take a look at it and make whatever necessary changes we need to make in the totality of this thing, because, again, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good, and that's just the truth and reality of it. Cam Hayward had an ankle injury, but he was able to get back into the game. Don't have a lot of information about any other potential injuries. We'll probably have more the next time we get together. Questions?
Mike, along the lines you just mentioned, what do you do to kind of get out of this little skid that you're in?
It's fundamental things, man. We got to look at ourselves and own it. And obviously, we got to be committed to making whatever change is necessary in an effort to improve the outcome. And it's as simple as that.
Like you guys said before this stretch of 3 games, that you would learn a lot about yourselves as a team in this 3 games. What have you learned?
I don't remember saying that. I'm focused on what transpired today, and as I mentioned, it was not good enough.
In the pass rush game, in the absence of Jones, did Kansas City compensate at all with anything different schematically that might have thrown your guys off up front?
They ran some nickel 3-3, but we anticipated that. Obviously, we knew his availability might be in question, and so I don't know that it was anything that was a shock. To be quite honest with you, we just didn't perform well enough.
What is so difficult about Mahomes to trying to defend him?
He's a quality player. What can be said about him that hadn't been said in terms of his talents and his knowledge of the offense, his relationship with his eligibles, his understanding of where people are, et cetera. But when I think about today, man, I think about the short fields we gave him. The first touchdown drive was 40 yards. We turned the ball over in the second half. I think it was a 20-something yard drive in that half. And so, I know a guy like him with his talent level and resume, you can't give him short fields and things of that nature. And so, that's where my energies are, what we can control, what we do, respectfully.
A lot of your offensive plays seem to be taking a long time to develop. Why is that? What can be done about it?
I don't know what specifically you're referring to. I probably need a little bit more detail, but obviously, we're not performing to the level that we'd like. We're not executing to the level that we would like.
Coach, at the end of the first half, Najee Harris had 7 carries for 21 yards. Jalen Warren had 8 carries for 61 yards. And just wondering why they wouldn't stick with the hot hand going into the second half.
We got every intentions of doing so, whether you're talking about those guys or anyone else. The bottom line is when you're not operating the way that we are, nobody gets to do what it is they desire to do. I'd like to get George Pickens more touches, et cetera. But again, we need to look at all of those things because, again, we're not going to continue to go through the same process and hope for a different result.
Mike, you said that there were things in this game that were eerily similar to last week. Has this team regressed the last 2-3 weeks?
You could say that if you so choose, but I just tend to look at performances and what we're doing and what we're not doing. We regressed in terms of our turnover culture, in terms of maintaining possession of the ball and getting the ball. We've been a plus group in most instances, and that's really been a catalyst for us in terms of the games unfolding the way that we desire. The last 2 weeks in particular, we haven't been plussed in that area. We've been minus in that area. And so the results are what they are.
How do you get back to that culture?
Fundamentals, man, we don't blink. But again, as I mentioned, in terms of the schematics, in terms of a division of labor, I'm open to whatever change is necessary in an effort to change the outcome.
Coach, you mentioned last game that you had a problem with the way the tight ends were being covered. This game, Kelsey was open quite often. How does something like that happen?
You know, in some of the instances that he were open, we were in zone defense, and you give credit to them and Mahomes in terms of diagnosing coverages. We were spinning the dial. We were playing some man. We were playing some zone. We were pressuring some. And most of the instances that he caught the ball, which is their norm, he is a zone killer. When in zone, he gets the ball, and a lot of those instances were in zone.
Mike, do you feel like you've kind of lost control of the position you were in, in the division?
You know, control, can be talked about, but the bottom line is, man, we're just not performing well enough, and so I'm less concerned about control of the division and more concerned about the quality of our performance at this juncture.
What gives you confidence that you can get this train back on the tracks?
Because it's what we do. It's what I love to do. Even on days like today, I love the game. I love working with that group in there. We're not performing the way that we need to. We'll stay down and keep working.
Mike, to add to the disappointment, when you see fans leaving early in the fourth quarter, how does that add to what happened today, and does that add maybe fuel the fire for next week?
To be honest with you, my focus is on the field, and I miss that.